Unreal Engine Film School is finally here, and so today we're going to be giving you a preview of what all is included with this course. This is Virtual Production Insider, and let's get into it. What's up guys, my name is David and I'm the Director of Virtual Production at Form Studios, and I've been using Unreal Engine as a filmmaking tool for the past several years. And when I first started using Unreal Engine, it became clear to me that this was a tool that could be used in so many different areas of production. Now, one area that's close to my heart is cinematics, because this allows me to take my love of gaming and filmmaking and bring them together. And so it's become an obsession of mine over the years of creating short films inside of Unreal Engine, and I found that I was able to incorporate a lot of filmmaking techniques that I would use on set, but in the virtual scene inside Unreal Engine. And that's what this course is all about. We're going to be diving deep into lighting and cinematography and how you can incorporate those real world principles to take your lighting and cinematography to the next level. Now, just a quick disclaimer before we go any further, this is not a beginner course for Unreal Engine. You should already have a basic skill set in Unreal Engine, because we won't be covering things like how to install the engine, how to open projects, things like that. And the project file and all of the lessons are recorded on a Windows-based machine. So if you're wanting to learn how to use Unreal Engine on a Mac, this course is not for you. But speaking of the project file, we do include an Unreal Engine project file for you to open up. We did create it in 5.5, but you can open it in 5.6. I was happy to see that I opened it up in 5.6 and it really had no issues. Nothing was offline, nothing really gave me any errors. So you could use it in 5.6, but I do recommend you open it in 5.5 if you have that version installed, because it will just guarantee that you won't have any compatibility issues. All right, so with all of that out of the way, let's jump into these lessons. And the very first lesson covers lighting. If we back out of the camera, we can see that the spotlight that we're using is elevated and at a 45-degree angle. If we were to sit kind of behind our subject here, we could see it's kind of diagonally off to the side. So imagine if straight ahead of you is 0, straight to the right is 90. Well, right in the middle there, that's 45 degrees. That's where you want your main key light coming from, and from an elevated position. So you can get this really nice, what we call Rembrandt lighting. This is basically creating this nice shape over here on the other side of the face, but we also get this nice fall off too. So you can see there's a lot of contrast, and having that fall off into shadows over there helps add shape to the face, because if you had light coming from all directions, you would just have this really flat looking face, which is just very uninteresting, right? So we want to always have definition, and that's usually introduced through shadows. So one other thing I like to do with the key light, and one reason I really like to use the spotlight, is because we can actually diffuse the light like you would in real life. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch over to camera, to the reference camera. Let's switch the lens setting over to something like maybe 105. And I'm going in extreme here to show you something that we're doing with the key light. So if you notice, if we choose our key light, go under details, you'll see that our source radius is the only thing that I've really changed from its default value other than the intensity. So by default, it is set to 0. If I set that back, watch what happens to the shadows and how sharp they are. So if we go to something extreme like 50, see what it's doing? It is creating basically a larger light source. You can actually see it in the eyes. Watch his eyes. I'm going to switch back to 0. Look how much smaller the light source gets in the reflection of his eye. And then if we go to something like 50, the light source gets larger, but by doing so, the shadows get softer. And this is how we create what's called beauty lighting. So there's a quick preview of what to expect in the lighting episode. Now let's take a look at the camera episode. Let's go ahead. If you come up here to perspective, you're going to see we have 2 cameras set up here. I want you to go to the spherical camera right now. We're going to pilot that, and make sure you click this little icon right here to pilot the camera. So I've got a couple cameras set up here that we're going to look at how basically depth of field reacts whenever you change from being a spherical to an anamorphic. And spherical is just the normal kind of lens. It's a pretty standard lens where you've got very standard looking bokeh. So what I mean by that is I want you to watch what happens. So obviously we also have an anamorphic camera here, right? So I want you to pay attention. I've set up some spheres back here in the background. So these are just little tiny spheres that I put an emissive texture on them. These only are in the scene to give you this example right here. But now if we were to take this and switch over to the anamorphic, I want you to pay attention to those spheres and what happens to them. Check, they see they have a circular form to them. If we switch over to the anamorphic camera, look what happens. A few things happened here. So you'll notice all of a sudden they are not circular anymore. They are actually oval and they're kind of stretched, right? This is what's happening when they're being de-squeezed. Whenever we're taking that image and we're squeezing it down, we're getting that effect. But you can see what it does to the bokeh. It kind of creates this more kind of swirled, stretched bokeh. And this really is kind of a personal preference, right? But the reason I wanted to show you this is because this is very commonly used in Hollywood. It really is one of the easier ways to get the film look, right? So I prefer to use anamorphic, and I'm going to show you just how to set that up inside of Unreal Engine. All right, so now for my favorite lesson, and this is the cinematic demo lesson. This is where I literally walk you through creating a cinematic from scratch. We can also introduce something like a rack focus, which is where you literally focus from one point to another. You can literally keyframe that. And this is a common thing they do in Hollywood to draw your eye somewhere, right? We can really tell the audience where to look. To do that, let's go into the actual shot here. Let's go under camera component, find the manual focus distance. Click on the camera component. Let's switch back to selection mode to get out of the animation stuff. And if we come over here to the focus settings, we can show draw debug focus plane. Check that. And we are going to draw our focus to start on our main character. So right, we draw it to where it's just on his eyes. He's walking along like so. So maybe we start it whenever he gets kind of like his final point there, like right there. So he's in focus. And then let's keyframe now the manual focus distance. Keyframe, go forward whenever he shines the light on him. And now we're going to keyframe and set the focus on this character. There we go. Now we can uncheck that. And now you just did a rack focus. Bam. And now you can see we get that nice swirly bokeh on that flashlight. That's really nice. And last but not least, I included a bonus episode that shows my approach for post-processing. Now, this isn't a tutorial, it's more of a broad overview of how I approach things like lens distortion and film grain and lens flares, all of those final pieces of the puzzle that helps take your cinematic across the finish line. That's the thing about cinema cameras these days. They do have this very sharp, clean look to them. And so diffusion is one of those ways to really help soften it up, make it look nicer and more kind of like film. And in this case, we're using bloom to do that. So I like bloom, and really the intensity is something I just play around with until I get a nice kind of subtle look to where it's just adding that little extra bit to the highlighted areas to just kind of help soften it up. Next thing I like to look at is lens flares. Now I set this to 0, and the main reason for this is because lens flares in Unreal Engine natively, I don't like the look of them. I don't think they look very realistic, and it's very limited on how much you can really tweak it. So I like to do my lens flares after the fact. I like to do it outside of Unreal. I like to do it in like After Effects or Nuke. Now, I will give an honorable mention. Dylan Brown has a really great cinematic lens flares pack on the Fab Marketplace, which I have used, and I've gotten some pretty great results with it, and it gives you some pretty nice looking flares right inside of Unreal Engine. So I definitely recommend checking that out. And there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this preview of the Unreal Engine Film School course. I'm so excited to finally get this out there for you guys, and I want to just say thank you for your patience. I know it has been a long time coming. And as a reminder, the course will be on sale for the first 30 days from the posting of this video, so you can grab the course for only $99. And you can also join our Discord server, where we're going to have a dedicated channel for anyone who purchases the course. This is a place where you can ask questions about the course, get feedback, and post your cinematics that you create while taking the course. And I'd love to check out what you guys create as a result of this course, so please post those in the Discord server, and I'll be taking some of those and featuring them right here on this channel as part of our Community Spotlight segment. Now, before we go, I want to give one quick teaser for something that's launching here in the next couple weeks. We have our very first competition coming out here on the channel, and you do not want to miss it, guys. We've got some really exciting prizes and judges lined up for this, so if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can get notified when that contest launches. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, and I cannot wait to see what you guys create after taking this course. So I'm David Stapp with Virtual Production Insider, and we'll see you guys next time.